All right, top US university, Harvard, is holding its graduation ceremony as the Trump administration ramps up the pressure on the institution. Harvard is seeking an injunction on government efforts to block its ability to enrol foreign students. Protests have been taking place on campus, where international students make up around a quarter of the student body. The White House has targeted Harvard in recent weeks, withdrawing federal funding from the US's oldest university and challenging its tax-free status. All right, well, let's cross now live to Cambridge, Massachusetts and Harvard University, where DW correspondent Benjamin Alvarez Gruber is standing by for us. Benjamin, always great to see you. So we've just said it there, you're outside the campus and you've been speaking to people there today. What have they been telling you? What's the mood like?
So the mood has been shifting from what we saw during the protests outside and what's happening right now. We're outside of the campus, as you just mentioned, here in Cambridge, Massachusetts, one of the several campuses that Harvard, one of the most prestigious universities in the US, has. And we heard a long, very loud clap for Harvard University President Allen Garber once when he stepped on the podium, and also when he said that the graduates and also the families here hail from all parts of the world, as it should be. So it shows on one side their resilience, but at the same time it also shows how difficult it is, the situation that the university is kind of being pressured constantly by the Trump administration.
Now, we're just actually seeing live images there of that ceremony as you're speaking there, Benjamin. Now, Harvard is, you mentioned that they're most prestigious, most prominent US university so far to push back against the Trump administration. But actually, does it have the power, the might to counter Trump's measures?
So this has been continuing, the growing pressure has been continuing for months. We've had several presidential threats. Yesterday, President Trump also said that Harvard University should cut the numbers of students from around a quarter, you just mentioned it, to 15%. Well, President Trump is saying that foreign students leave no more opportunity for US students to attend these colleges. But if we look not only at the diversity of this and many universities in the country, it's also this financial aspect, because there are estimates that more than 1.1 million international students last year contributed more than $44 billion to the US economy. So it's not just Harvard that is under pressure, but several other universities that are being targeted by the Trump administration.
Now, stand by with us, Benjamin, because US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has now also said that the government will begin revoking Chinese student visas across the US. Rubio's announcement came a day after he ordered US embassies to stop visa interviews for all international students, and amid an increase in screening of applicants' social media accounts. So let's take a look.
Chinese students in the United States are the target of the Trump administration's latest move. In a post on X, America's top diplomat Marco Rubio announced the US will begin revoking visas of Chinese students, including those with connection to the Chinese Communist Party or studying in critical fields. Meanwhile, the State Department said Chinese students applying for visas, including students from Hong Kong, will face additional scrutiny.
Hi, everybody. If you're going to be applying for a visa, follow the normal process, the normal steps, expect to be looked at, and we go on from there.
China has criticized the US decision as unreasonable and said it had lodged protests with Washington.
Such a politicized and discriminatory action lays bare the U.S. lie that it upholds a so-called freedom and openness and will only further damage its image in the world and national reputation.
Chinese students are expressing concerns over the future of their studies in the U.S.
It's pretty absurd. It doesn't seem like something that could happen now. During the day, I scrolled others' reactions on social media. People seemed quite anxious. Although my major isn't particularly sensitive, the visa process hasn't even started yet. And the timeline is already quite tight since the school year begins in early August. Now, with this situation and not knowing how long it will be suspended, I'm pretty worried.
Every student's welcome here.
Hundreds of thousands of Chinese students attend US universities. It is not clear how many of them could be affected by the latest move. The revocation could disrupt a significant source of income for American universities and a crucial pipeline of talent for US tech companies.
All right, Benjamin, you're still with us there. Great. Now, tell us more about how the new measures of the Trump administration will affect Chinese students and why Chinese students in particular are being targeted.
The press release that the State Department sent out said that U.S. student visa system should be America first and not China first. That's what Marco Rubio also said when he posted on X announcing this new measure. We just heard in the report Chinese students make up one of the biggest groups of international students here. That's something that we saw not only here in Cambridge but also at MIT, at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, that also is having its commencement week. We saw many gowns with the yellow stars of the Chinese flag on their gowns, with many family members also from China traveling to the US. But there's several things that are not clear here. One, ties to the Communist Party I mentioned in the press release, but that's something that here in the US has been talked over and over again. It's not quite clear who of them will be targeted, and then especially why China is being called out, because there was an announcement by the State Department and by Secretary Rubio telling all of the US embassies worldwide to hold all of the student visa applications right now as they come up with a new system where they want to scan social media posts. And coming back to President Trump's comment yesterday, he said that the students who come here, not just focusing on China, but everyone, should love the US. So it's not quite clear yet who will be targeted, what that will mean, and also what that will mean for the US, for many international students, where there is this current uncertainty if they should even apply, considering how difficult it is for them to actually come to the US, and what they will mean, especially now for Chinese students, a country that has been called out by the State Department for the students that they sent here to the US.
Great to have your insights there, Benjamin, you've always got a close ear to the ground, see what's going on. Always nice to have you on the show. DW correspondent Benjamin Alvarez Gruber joining us today from Harvard.